Let me, if anybody's around, I'm going to fire it off an invite to Bobby, and we'll kind of stick with you for a while here. Going to talk about football. Then I'm going to run I'm going to run the NFL sheets as well. Excuse me, the NBA sheets as well. To at least give an idea of what I want to do a little bit later. Okay. Okay. Let me just text him as well. Okay. Just watching a race here on the other side. Need the 2 here, which is I do need the 2, don't I? You want to take a look at this? You want to see how we're doing? All right, let's take a look. Let's see if we can't. We got to root for the 2 here. Sitting there on the rail, he's 5-1. He's getting a good trip. He's got to get out though. See, he's getting a little locked in there. All right, no excuses now. All right, here we go. He's going to hopefully slip through the rail, through that little opening there, and let's see if we can't get there. And that's not doesn't look good. Okay, that happens. Probably going to get like 5th after all that. Okay, not a problem. We'll get him next time. At least you didn't lose by a nose. How about that? Okay, let me get the chat up here. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I do have some questions to ask Bobby here, so I really hope he does show up pretty soon for this football slate. And while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start looking at start running projections for the NBA later. I think it's a 6 p.m.er. Yeah, and Bobby's going to probably hang out here with just for about a half an hour, and then I think he has to do his builds. Let's see what we got here. And I did play of course, I did play the early NBA slate as well. I'll let you know how I'm doing with that. So far, I mean, it's hard to tell, but so far, not that great. Okay, so no, we want the main slate for the NBA, right? Okay. So I'll give Bobby like 5 minutes, and if he doesn't show, then I'll just get going with what I have. And I have one main stand here, which is a little, which I'm hoping Bobby talks me off of this, actually, because it's something I really don't want to do, and it is something that Bobby has a unique perspective on. Let's put it that way. And we're building all as you guys as I mentioned. I'm running NBA projections while I'm waiting for Bobby. Then we'll talk about the football. This is the last classic slate, right? Of the last classic slate of the season. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm going to run NBA too. Yeah, Yahoo also me as well. NBA. All right. So I may as well just kind of start off with these are I didn't play that much on DraftKings in the football. I played like 20 lineups in the Millie Maker, just hope to get lucky, you know. And that's pretty much it. Fanduel I played a little bit more. I actually max entered the Fanduel. Oh, there he is. Hey, what's going on, Bobby?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Okay, first of all, before we get into it, because I do have a very important question to ask you. It's going to drive what I'm doing in DraftKings. But my first question is, what do you think of the games?
So I still think I'm a little nervous about betting this. I have this feeling that the KC is going to put it all together and have a big game and win the game. But it wouldn't surprise me if that game is a little shootouty. I don't like leaving 7 points, but I would take KC. And I tentatively like my Rams, but I am a little nervous. But I think that there's also a path where the Rams win by 20. I think that there's also a path where San Francisco could find a way to squeak it out, which I really hope doesn't happen because then I won't hear about it until we finally get them back. So that's what my thoughts are. What about you?
Yeah, I don't have too much of an opinion on the spreads today. I mean, I think the Chiefs, wasn't that pushing almost 7.5 now, or no?
Yeah, I think I thought I saw it still at 7, but maybe it is a 7.5 at some
I
point.
don't know. I was really paying attention. I overheard someone saying something about that.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I don't think that it's time yet for the Bengals. It's close,
Yep.
but
I agree.
I think this. I think going into Kansas City into that environment it's tough. It's just tough,
I agree.
and not that Burrow hasn't lived up to all the challenges this year. It's just he could still could have had an incredibly good season and still lose in this game.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I feel about it. I think the Kansas City's going to get enough done. They have enough coaching. They have enough tricks. They just have enough talent to kind of get it done. I don't think they're going to blow them out or anything like that. So I suppose I don't know. I suppose I would take the 7. I mean, if I had to. But I think that I think that a lot of the covering of the 7 will be like kind of backdoor cover situations, like when they're up 13 and and Bengals get a ball one last time. I think that Kansas City's gonna I think they're in good shape in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I like them too. I like them as well. Overall,
so here's my main question.
It's going to be a running back question, isn't it?
It is a single running back question.
It's
So
going to
my
be
question is, since you are the Rams running back whisperer, so to speak, what do you think of the Rams running back? What do you think of Cam Akers? And what do you think of running backs in general on this?
It's rough. Mixon makes the most sense, and you can get him in pretty easily. He's going to be on the field the whole time. I don't remember ever having such a speculative situation with two of the teams who's going to have the ball, because Jerick McKinnon is going to get more ownership. I could easily see, especially with the game script, it going more Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's way. But McKinnon stands probably a better chance to get the score, or two. With the Rams situation, it should be Cam Akers. Here's the problem. Sony Michel, they were running along fine, and he's done a great job for them all year. The two fumble, it's not like Akers has a career of where he does a little bit, but he's not like the worst, but I mean, knowing McVay, like that's a pretty big, he fumbled also another time that they recovered last week. And it's a little nerve-wracking to me, the idea that Cam Akers will just get all the touches. So I think you will see some certain splits. I think Sony Michel is a terrific tournament play, even though I wouldn't be surprised if he had like 4 fantasy points. It wouldn't also surprise me if he was the higher running back in that game and he ends up putting up 18 or something. So I'm mostly focusing on the guys who I feel the most comfortable with, which are Mitchell and Mixon. Nothing exciting there. It also feels like a double tight end slate to me. So I'm going to be mixing in McKinnon and Edwards-Hilaire at a similar ownership. I probably will have about 30% of each of them. Probably near the field with McKinnon, and I'll probably be above the field on Edwards-Hilaire. I'll be with the really high ownership on Mixon, and I'll be slightly below on Mitchell, only because he could lose some of the touchdown upside to some of the other Niners. Obviously, Debo and Kittle and Ayuk gets carries. So I would go. I would go probably a little bit under. I'll be underweight on Akers and overweight on Michel. But I do think Akers is the more logical of the two plays, and definitely does feel like he's still the back. But again, one fumble in the first quarter, that's going to change.
Let me ask you this. So we didn't really do a full NFL review, but when we spoke about it in general, I mentioned to you earlier in the week that my initial idea was I'm going to end up doing, just almost everybody from the Kansas City-Cincinnati game and maybe 1 or 2 guys at most from the Rams game. And you mentioned, well, yeah, that's probably what everybody's going to do. That's probably the really chalky type build. I mentioned this because I'll tell everybody what I'm playing today. So I'm playing on DraftKings. Right now, I'm only just playing 20 lineups and Millie Maker. I'm not playing anything big yet. But I wanted to wait. I wanted to talk through it with you because I do want to probably play one bigger lineup. And that's why I want to kind of talk, go through this with you. Is it asking for trouble to be ultra contrarian and stack that later game, or how are you handling it from an ownership perspective? Because what I said is obviously what everybody's going to think about. What are you doing in your bigger buy-ins, at least conceptually, if you don't go to give exact lineups?
So I do have Stafford as like a 20% Stafford stacks of the lineups today. I don't think that's anything unusual. I think that's going to be right near the field. I think that it's viable, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Niners do, because these coaches know each other, the same coaching tree, and Shanahan was always the top dog, and then it was McVay coming up, and I think that they know each other well, and I think that you're going to see some trickiness. I think you'll probably see Deebo Samuel. I think he's got a chance to throw a touchdown today. That's an interesting prop bet that you could go put out there.
Ooh.
That's something that you might see. I think that you're going to see everybody knows that Matt Stafford is extremely elite against the blitz, and the Niners like to blitz, but obviously they know this too. You know what I mean? So you're going to play a lot of zone. You're going to see a lot of zone coverage, which should open up Cooper Kupp. And obviously we all love Cooper Kupp as a play. So there's nothing specific that you're getting way off the board. What I'm trying to do to look, Cooper Kupp's going to be 50% owned. I probably will have right about that. Odell Beckham, I'll probably have right around the 20% of Odell Beckham. I will have 20% of Van Jefferson, which will be, I think, probably double the field. I will have 35% of Higbee. As I mentioned, I like the double tight end builds, and that'll probably be above the field. I'll probably be, near the field at 30% on Kittle on the other side of that game. And I'm going to be below the field on Samuel. I'm going to be above. I was going to be above on Ayuk, but he's getting a little too much ownership. The guy who I'm going to play as my get weird play is Juwan Jennings. If you play Juwan Jennings and Van Jefferson in lineup, you can do whatever else you want elsewhere. Don't forget Juwan Jennings put up 26, 27 fantasy points against these guys in the last game of the regular season in an important game. And yeah, he's their big third. He's a third down target. They like to use for first downs. They like to use him for touchdowns when they need to throw. I think the Rams are going to make it tough to run, and there might be a few big breakout plays for Mitchell or Deebo or something. But mostly, I think the Rams will do a good job stopping the run on mostly first down. And I think that San Francisco knows that. So I expect San Francisco to come out throwing a little bit more often, and maybe looking at some more of these multi-receiver sets. So that's just my sort of approach to the game. In terms of the best way to look at it, I feel like on these slates is to try to see who you're going to be above and who you're going to be behind the field on. I'll be above the field on Pringle and Hardman. I love all the Cincinnati receivers. I think that Boyd might be my highest owned because of the price. But I would go heavier on Boyd and Higgins, and I'm going to scarily play a little bit, just a much less Jamar Chase than everybody else does. Even though I love him, it's just too logical to me that they're not going to let him play this press coverage every time. Like, it's just, he had one of the greatest games ever for a receiver just a few weeks ago against this team. I can't believe Andy Reid and company wouldn't be ready for that and double team him, force them to maybe throw the ball shorter to the big target in Higgins, or to maybe go for Boyd on some one-on-one plays. So that's the way I'm going to play that angle. Does that sort of give you an overall of I know it's sort of deviated off.
That's really good. The other thing is I want to throw a couple of names out there to you, because I actually did Showdown too, and part of the reason I did Showdown also is I just came up with some other names. And remember, it's a two-game slate. You could almost treat the two-game slate almost like a Showdown also. Are you getting in the two-game slate any Pirine?
No.
Okay. Because in the Showdown he's pretty attractive, but
I think that's fine. But I mean, you're asking for a lot from Pirine.
Yeah. In the two gamer for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the two gamer, just because of I do think that there's an opportunity cost for every position, because I don't think this is not like a two gamer where I think that you're going to look at duds. I expect a few guys to put up like if Cincinnati and KC played this game on the full 16 game slate like they did in the regular season, this would be a game you target, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. One other way you can get different is maybe get a little bit underweight on Kelsey and Kittle, who I like both of them very much, and maybe play a Tyler Higbee, CJ Uzoma kind of a build or something like that.
Well, I like Uzoma a lot, by the way.
Yeah, and he's going to be low owned. I like Higbee.
Is he going to be low owned?
Yeah, I've got him projected around 12%. What do you think? Because I think that sounds about right to me. Because you've got Kittle and Kelsey are awesome plays. Higbee's an awesome play, and I think Uzoma is just the fourth tight end and is going to be a little bit left out.
Yeah, I have on DraftKings, I have him at like 25% ownership.
Wow, it's a little surprising. What do you have Higbee at?
27.
Yeah, it would be very surprising to me to see Higbee as the same ownership as Uzoma.
Yeah.
Higbee is a much more consistent performer for a quarterback that loves to use his tight ends. Now they throw the ball. You could say that they're going to throw the ball more in the other game, so maybe Uzoma is healing in that sense. But I personally would side with Higbee.
I actually do have Higbee as a little bit of a better play.
Yeah, he is a better play
than Uzoma. I just feel it's kind of efficient. You know what I mean? Like, I think he'll be a little bit more owned, and he's a little bit better play. You know.
If you do want to get really weird, and what I will do in one of my long shot lineups is I will throw Kendall Blanton in one of my double tight end builds, because they will run that play for him near the goal line. You know, every now and then they did it. They did it last week, and he got to score a touchdown. It's really thin, but if you want to do a different-ish build and get a 2,700 him with any other tight end, including Higbee, possibly play both of them, nobody's going to play Kendall Blanton. If he gets in the end zone once and you have him play him with Kelsey or something, playing with Kittle, whatever, or Higbee, I think you're just getting a little different with your build. And if he gets, 8 fantasy points might be good enough at 2,700. He might be better than a guy scoring 12 at 37 and 34.
Yeah.
Just to get different in your build, because that's what, the name of the game, right? I by the way, I want to make it clear, I do like Chase. I just want to play the narrative that makes the most sense to me, what coaches and how they'll adjust. And this is what I do in NBA playoffs that makes me do very well for basketball, is that I tend to be decent enough at guessing what the coaches are going to try to do. And I just can't imagine, Sheets. Just logically, can you imagine an Andy Reid team like just going out and doing the same thing they did and beat this? There's no way they're going to do that. There's just no way.
No, they'll have some ideas. What about again? I'm trying to come up with nonsense. Just because like Blake Bell, like stuff like that.
Yeah, Blake Bell is a little bit of a poorer version, I think, of
the Blanton. Okay,
but pretty similar. Not really much of a difference. It's just one thing to get different. And again, it's a long shot tournament play. This is not.
I'll tell you what I like.
333.
I'll tell you what I like. I like the Juwan Jennings idea.
I think that I have 25% Juwan Jennings right now, and I feel pretty good about it. Is it an opto? Is it the best play? Is it all? No, but I'm happy to take that shot. And if I'm doing really well, I can do a 2v2 swap, switch over defenses, and I can get up to Van Jefferson in most of the lineups where I have him, or I can get up to who I feel like is a little bit of a safer play because he's a part of the regular Rams receiving core. Juwan Jennings is sort of the third down and near goal line guy.
I have whatever. I have in the showdown slate right now. I have 85% Jennings.
Let's go. I love it. Oh yeah, 22.
He's only 2K. I mean, he's probably going to be a 60% owned.
Yeah. He's in my both of my big ones, I believe, on my showdown. I didn't play the first showdown because there was no good tournaments left by the time I got there.
Oh shit. Okay.
Jennings. What was the Jennings question? Looking at it in chat and says Jennings and Higgins. What Jennings?
What's he asking?
He said something about Jennings and Higgins. I don't know. Oh, Juwan Jennings and Higgins. Oh, together, you mean? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Jennings and Higgins. That's the way to get. It's just ways to get different. I'm not saying these are the optimal plays, but if you play, Jennings as a low owned play, I just think that there's the upside. And we just saw it. And now it's a 2-game slate. And I think we should have some open-mindedness to it. By the way, even in other situations, last week I'm going to throw out the San Francisco game. But Jennings has had games this year. Like it's not like there's no upside for this guy. And the weird part is like Debo lining up in the backfield actually seems to help him, and he consistently produces at some level. You know what I mean? It's not a guy who goes out there and gets no targets. He gets targets every single game, and he gets them on big downs. And if the Rams are playing from ahead, you're going to see the 3-wide receiver set. You're going to see some sets with Samuel in the backfield, and you're going to see Juwan Jennings trying to be their possession receiver / on third down / touchdown guy.
You want to hear something cool for you sort of, not for you, but
yeah,
Malik Monk at halftime has 32 fantasy points.
Oh really? I didn't know.
The Lakers have 71 points at the half.
Who are they playing?
Who do you think? The Falcons. I mean, the Hawks.
Oh yeah.
On the road, they're up 71-62 at the half.
Okay, I hope they can get it together and win that game.
Yeah.
need to get some wins. By the way, I actually was really proud of my man Westbrook the other night. He kept me that night that you ended up winning. That I had that game with a 7-man stack, and we almost had the overtime in it. That could have
Well,
put
it's
me.
well, you know what? It's what I said. I talked about this yesterday about the differences between like the big buy-ins and the lottery stuff. Like in my big buy-ins, that's exactly what I had. I had like all of those Lakers with LaMelo. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I, but there's a difference between having to play the big ones and having to play the lottery ones.
Right. But boy, I mean, you get an overtime and you get those 7 guys home, man, you're going.
Oh, well, then you got it all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I ended up just min cashing in the big one that night, and if that game goes overtime, if that shot at the end, oof, it could have been a good night for me, and you probably still would have won your tournament, by the way.
Probably. Westbrook had like 35 fantasy points like the second half or something like that.
He wouldn't shoot the ball early on in the game. He was very efficient, and then when they needed him to score, he went nuts.
Yep.
It was nice to see a little vintage Westbrook, play. I thought he played really well. I know he had a bad first half, but really played well in the second half. Anyway, back to today's slate. So I'm just going to go through some ownerships I've gotten. They're definitely subject to change. I have 70% mix in 65, 70, somewhere around there. I've got 35% McKinnon and 30% Edwards-Helaire. I'm probably going to even that out, but I only have 20% Cam Akers right now. And that's where I guess I'm making a little bit of a stand because he's projected to be 50+% owned, I believe.
Yeah, I have him at 60 something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because I think he's actually the second or third best running. He's probably the second best running back on that actually in real life football. But I've got to, I am worried a little bit about the splits. Sony Michel certainly still does his job. It's not going to be just all Cam Akers either way. And, touchdown variance is a thing. So I'm willing to go the other route.
I currently have 100 of Akers. So, but I'll keep it. Here's perspective, right? I'm doing 30 lineups and you know what I mean? Nothing big for now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I am right now. I probably should do something different. This is where I'm getting though. It's like annoying. You know what I don't have? I think I don't have Mitchell. Oh, I do. I have him too. No, I only have 10% Mitchell. You know what? I could always screw in.
Yeah.
Wait, what's Mitchell's price? He's
59.
59.
Yeah. I just want the workhorse back. So the thing is, it's weird to call him a workhorse back because he gets to split the carries with other receivers. But it's almost like the perception has I think if you had to make a single entry lineup or a cash game lineup, I think you play Mixon and Mitchell. And I think the conventional wisdom for most people is to play Mixon and Akers.
I have something for you, by the way. So I don't know if this is a prop bet or whatever it is. I do like the Kansas City defense a little bit today.
Yep.
I'd say a little bit. There's only 4 teams you could play, whatever.
Yep. I think they're great playing showdown, by the way.
Right, because one thing I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 games from the Bengals, even though they've been winning, right? Burrow is not. Well, here's the deal: Burrow is not shy about just taking the sack.
Yeah,
no
he'll
problem. Just take the sack, and they've been winning with doing that. So I don't think there's any reason for him to not do that. So I don't know if that is conducive to pick sixes. But it's certainly enough to get, I think, KC, some sacks to keep them, on pace with maybe the Rams, Niners defenses, which are probably rating a little bit better. But what I was going to say is, I wonder if there's a prop for over under sacks for the Chiefs or something like that. Maybe that's I don't know what it would be, but maybe it's only over what would it be, 2.5? I don't know what it would be.
No, I think it'll be a lot higher.
It would be higher than that. I can't even imagine.
I mean, just because he gets sacked so many times. He gets sacked so many. He sacked him 4 times the last time they played him, and even that could have. I mean, they were trying to win the game, but they needed things to go their way in order for it to work. So I don't think it was the absolute best. And now you're going to have a lot of disguised coverages and blitzes and exotic blitzes for Burrow. They saw what happened last week, and that's a sign of how you can get to them. I think that they're gonna. I think the Chiefs are the number 1 defense, with the Rams number 2, because of the sack, the pressure upside. And that usually does lead to turnovers. Will it today? I don't know, but I do really like it. I think I might have too much of Cooper Kupp, actually, because I love Kupp here, but I also like Jefferson and I like OBJ. I think that I think you can beat these 49ers through the air. And I hope that if the Rams get up 17 like they did last time, they keep putting the pressure on and throwing the ball.
Dude, this is what's waiting for you when California comes legal. Look at this stuff. So these are like some of the prop bets you can make. Like you could bet on tackles, some solo tackles in this game. Like,
oh yeah, love it.
This is just incredible.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man. I'm really excited.
I mean, how many like the over under on Jesse Bates the third tackles? I mean, tackles plus assists.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to mix and match a little bit, maybe get a little less Mixon than I currently have, just because I love it Mixon, but I just think he's got him really, really owned here. So I'm going to try to get a little bit less of that and mix in a little bit more Sony Michel. I think that's the way to go. I think there's definitely upside for the Niners defense. The only defense that's really hard to justify is the Bengals, but that's going to be the truth for everyone. So you have a sub 10% defense, and maybe you do what I tried to do last week.
I could totally be into the Bengals defense. I mean,
yeah, because and the thing is, like, you get one mistake play like a touchdown, like the Bills had against them last week, and boom, you're off. You're off and running. You're already different. You know what I mean?
And listen, you got a game that's going to look. If the game is such that it throws a lot, whatever it is, you know that Mahomes is going to at least 3 times throw the ball across the field. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And who's to say that those ones are the ones that don't get picked off? Who knows?
Right. Sure. Or as has happened so many times this year, Mahomes throws it to the running back and it tips off his fingers, and then the guy runs it back for a pick six. I mean, it's just weird stuff happens, and that's you're betting on. But the most logical defense definitely does feel like. But I still like the strategy of, if you have 3K exactly left for your defense, play the 2,800 defense of the Niners. If you have 3,200, play the 3K defense of the Chiefs, because you're just going to be getting a little different than all those other builds, right?
Well,
because other people are going to.
I would argue the opposite, right?
To pay all of it.
If you got the 3,200, then take the 2,800 defense.
Oh, I agree. That's exactly the same principle, just taking it a step further. Yeah. Yeah. But we're on the same page with that. 100%. And that's the thing I'm really going through and trying to add here is really get some more exposure to these other receivers.
Right.
These other guys and not play so much Burrow, and I'm sorry, not play so much Cup, and play a little bit of Sony Michel, and you can get very different.
But listen, here's the deal, and this is, I don't know who's going to do this first, but this is something that I don't want to talk too much about this. I know you got to go soon, but I asked you this. You don't remember? I asked you this when I first started playing DFS. Are there people out there that kind of put it all together, that they do DFS and then they do sports betting and they do like prop betting, and they have a thing saying, okay, if I'm going to want this is like hedge fund stuff. Like, if I'm going to have exposure to the Chiefs, is it better to have exposure to the Chiefs in the prop bets, or is it better in DFS? And if you have, Hill in DFS, is it possible to hedge by playing, a defense prop within the prop betting? There's so many different ways you can play, that if you could put all of that together, and I say this for a reason. So like the other day, I had I had the sweat in the fadeaway, right? And the only thing that was in my way I saw was Drew Holiday. So you know what I did? I went on the prop bets, and you could bet in the fourth quarter. I could do so. I bet over Drew Holiday points in the fourth quarter, something like that.
It's a hedge. Yeah, it's a great hedge.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm intentionally making a bad bet, which is like, who knows? Maybe it was a decent bet, the Drew Holiday over. So you could have all these different vehicles to offset whatever. And the reason I brought it up now is, so let's say that I have 100% Cam Akers, for example, okay? And I have a big old freaking lineup going into the freaking going towards the late game, and I can't swap off whatever it is. You can use prop bets to hedge against your exposure too. You could, if I need really Cam Akers a lot in DFS, I could play an under in in prop betting or something like that. And it's a crazy thing that they've that you can do. And
What you're saying is really important, I think, actually, for people.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly the best. There's gonna be people that figure it out about like the optimal way to put it all together. It's gonna be, but you know what? Maybe not, because I there have been things that I thought people would put together in poker like literally 15 years ago they still haven't done yet. So who knows?
Yep.
But one thing I will tell you is that oh my God, DraftKings has taken out like 30-minute like infomercials here in New York now. It's literally on television 24/7. Like you have Pat Mayo and what's his name, and the other guy, forget his name, a Reed something or other. They're like hosting some like Reed Lawler or something. I forget his name, but they're hosting it. They're talking about the app. It's like 30 minutes of drama. And my wife's looking at this. She's like, "Oh my God, this is what's happening. Like this is like ridiculous. Like all day long. I mean, people are going to lose all their money." I'm like, "Well, say what it is. I mean, this is what legality does. It's here, and it's nonstop, wall to wall advertising." And it's a freaking zoo. And when it comes to California, man, it's going to be insane for you guys.
Yep, I agree with you, and I hope it comes soon.
Yep.
I might get out of here and finish my builds because I usually I have a little harder time, finishing the builds while I'm on the air.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean, there's anything else?
Yeah. What I'm going to do, I'll stick around because I want to share actually I know you don't do this, but I want to share my initial NBA builds because I just kind of release my things more.
Yeah.
I mean, a lock isn't for like 3.5 hours, but I am going to come up and remember, don't forget, it's 6 p.m. whatever, and I'll come up and do this. You have the chalkiest guy on the slate is going to be a 3K Trey Jones. He's almost unfadable actually, based on current projections. So we have to. So we're going to take a look at that. And then you have is this what it is? All these San Antonio guys are out, I guess. Okay. So I get Drew Eubanks, Jock Landale, what's his name, Lonnie Walker. I guess they're all out. I guess both White and DeJounte Murray are out. I suppose that's why this is. So that's what's going to dominate the later slate. We'll take a look at this. By the way, you know what else happened yesterday? It was Maxi Kleber 30th birthday narrative. He smashed.
Oh, did he?
He sure did.
Oh, nice. I love it. He's one of my, I love him as a real life player. Just fantasy, I never like him on big slates, but I do always root for him to do well. So, all right, Chiefs. Well, good luck today. I hope everybody enjoys a great day of football. It should be really exciting. And go Rams. Good luck, everybody.
So I'm going to do this right now. Actually, I'm going to just catch up on this news here, and then I'm going to show what this build looks like for the basketball. Well, at least the Sheets basketball. I didn't even build any lineups yet, but I'm going to confirm that news. I presume that's what it is. I presume just all these San Antonio guys. DeJounte Murray's out. Derek White is out. So that's why all these guys are going to show up as smash plays. But remember, there's a huge amount of blowout risk there now that DeJounte Murray is out. So you have to keep that in mind. But these are the guys that are value. You're going to control the value. And if you look, there are guys that you could pay up for. So there's Doncic, there's Giannis, and there's Jokic. So you could play two studs like really easily. Like for example, I wonder if you could play three just for the hell of it. Let me just see. I'm not going to fill out the whole lineup, but let's literally just rank all this by salary. And let's just see. If let's say you played Jokic and Luka and Giannis just for the hell of it. What does that leave you? Does it leave you 3K? Nah, you can't quite do that. But you could play two studs like really, really easily with all these 3K guys. And that's probably what people are going to do. But the value is like way too strong to just kind of ignore. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to. You know what I'm going to do? Let me look. I'll show you my Fanduel builds as well. Are you waiting for the NBA? Okay, so let's talk about this. So let me take a look. First I'm going to rank these guys just without anything related to game by game. So you'll see like Trey Jones is like the ultimate lock of the slate. So that's the first thing you want to get in, and then you'll see that Luka and Jokic are the next two. So you could really start your lineups with bang, bang, bang. Luka, Jokic, and Trey Jones, and you could play really, really easily. Okay. Now this is going to be, highly owned, but you got to start somewhere. Then next group, then you're at Whiteside and Giannis. They're next. And then you have kind of a glut. Now let me rank these again by points per dollar, and that would be again Trey at the top, and then all these San Antonios. Kleber again, very strong. Oh, because what's his name? I think because Kristaps is out, right? Because he got taken out of that last game. So whenever Kristaps is out, Kleber usually shows up as a good play. And oh, look at that! They made him only center eligible, so maybe that'll keep his ownership somewhat low. Seeing as my screen's blurry, I unfortunately can't help that. This is literally the best I can do. Yeah, sorry. This is. I wish I can. I can't quite fix this. It's like all I get, right? I'm using Restream, and this is the. Yeah, so unfortunately, you can't get a full accurate view of my screen, I guess. Let me just see if I can't change this. No, not really. I guess I'm just going to talk through it, I suppose. So it's what I say, the San Antonio guys, which are Trey Jones, Drew Eubanks, Londale, Walker, Vassell, McDermott, and then you have Kleber's in there, and then you're at Dwight Powell. What I was going to say is that Kleber is like center only eligible, so that makes it somewhat interesting. Then you get Marquise Chris at 3K. We tried this before, right? Remember, I tried this before. Maybe I'll try this again. I think I am going to try this again. That could be fun. That could be fun. Let me take a look at Fanduel, and then I'm going to come back. I'll do a couple of builds, actually. I'm sorry you can't see in the blurriness. I apologize for that. I'll try to troubleshoot this some other time. All right, so Fanduel, first thing I will notice is it's not quite as mandatory you play that value, but it's still available to you. Jokic, strong, Giannis, Luka, Whiteside again. Let me rank these by point per dollar and see who shows up. Yeah, same guys. Eubanks, Kleber, Trey Jones, Landale, Jalen Brunson always shows up. DFS, who again, I don't play him. So I'm going to do a couple of builds and see what I actually get. But first, I have to do something in the horse racing. Let's go. 1 second. 10, 6, 7, 10. So let's go 6, 7, 10 with 6, 7, 10. Exact box. 6, 7, 10. And boom. Okay, good. I'm going to share this with you in a minute, by the way. Okay. So let's do a build. Why not? Let's see what it is. So we're going to go into DraftKings. We're going to use SaberSim to do it. And, it's early, so it's just not necessarily what I'm going to end up doing, but it's something to do at least. We'll upload. Actually, I can make dummy lineups anyway. So I'm going to upload my projections, but you could use whatever. And this is going to be DraftKings and see what this will look like. So we're going to make this 20 max thing. We'll leave the sliders the same just for now, just for kicks. And we're going to build 20 lineups and see what we get. I know we're going to get 100% Trey Jones. That's I'm guarantee you that. I guarantee it, but let's see. Yeah, so 100% Trey Jones, and then it's it's actually making me pay more for the Giannis than for anything else, which is somewhat interesting because it really wants me to play Whiteside, I suppose. So this is somewhat interesting, and it's got a bunch of the Kleber and things like that. Now, just for the hell of it, what I want to do is let me download this first. If I went up to 30 lineups, when we're still at 100%, yeah, I would still get 100%. And if I made it to 150 lineups, then I would not get 100% of Trey Jones. And I think that's that's an interesting exercise, you know, see how much of a lock he really is. So if I wouldn't get 100% of him at 150 lineups, maybe he's not a stone lock. And you know what? With the existence of the blowout risk, maybe he's not a stone lock. You know, so that's something to consider. Let me see Fanduel. Let's do a Fanduel build. Remember, it's a 6 p.m. lock for all these sites today. Fanduel. Let's see what I get on Fanduel. Okay. So let's do 30 there. So keep the sliders the same. And let's see what we have here. Let's see what we get on Fanduel. If we get a bunch of Trey Jones, if we get something different, let's see. So here I'm getting like 100% Giannis, which is interesting. And almost none of this cheap value. I would say none, getting a bunch of Vassal. That's the big one over here. McDermott, I think 30% of him. Okay, so that's interesting. You know, almost all the Giannis, which is interesting. So it's Giannis, Kleber, Brunson, Eubanks. Eubanks, he's getting a bunch. Luka, Whiteside, you know. Let's do a Yahoo. I don't know how many of you can play Yahoo, but let's do it anyway. Okay. Yahoo. Just going to use my projections again. We're going to use their Saber Sims default sliders. And let's see what we got on Yahoo. I'm curious to see how it's different. So it's interesting. You got like no Trey Jones on FanDuel, almost 100% of them on DraftKings. And on Yahoo, you get about 85% white. So they're really into the white side idea everywhere. So Whiteside, Trey Jones, but not 100%, which is somewhat interesting. Then there's Chris Paul, Bojan Bogdanovic, Nikola Jokic, Giannis. Now, the good thing is there's no guy in my particular builds today that I just simply don't want any of. And I sometimes do that. Sometimes I'll just, just say, I don't care what my sheets say. I just refuse to play a certain guy. And that's not today. All right, want to watch a horse race? Let's watch a horse race. So what we need here is the 6, 7, and 10, but mostly the 6 and the 10. So right now we're lined up okay. I don't know if you can even see this, how blurry this is. If my spreadsheets were not blurry, I don't know how many copyright violations I'm committing by doing this as well. But we'll see if I get blocked. So here's the 7, the 10. We'd like the 7 to clear, the 10 to clear off the 2. Okay, that's good so far. So I'm not worried too much about the 4. He's 50 to 1. So what I'd like is for these guys to kind of slow it down, and I'll run a sprint with the 7 and the 10. I'm hoping the 2 is just kind of finished. 2 looks to be hanging close there. And we'd like to see the 10 not lose ground here to the 7. I'd like it to just become between the 10 and the 7 turning for home. And, it just be these 2. It looks as though the 10 might be struggling a little bit. So let's see. No, it looks like he's not quite given up yet. The 6, this is the other guy I have. He's like kind of struggling in the back. So I don't think he's going to be the one to kind of get in there. This 2 is a little annoying, by the way. He's not giving up the fight yet. All right, so this 2 is probably going to ruin me, but let's see. Right now, so far, so good. We just need these 2 to kind of hang in there and the 2 to not pass us. It's going to be a little bit of a pain in the neck, but let's just see. I knew this 2 is like being too much of a little too much momentum. 10's got to hold him off somehow, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. Looks like he's going to get me right at the wire. God dang it. All right, no problem, though. It is what it is. That's the way horse racing works sometimes. All right. So you read the text on that one? Okay. All right. That's good. All right. So I guess that's pretty much all I have for the NBA. I'm going to update, like for now, I'm going to update my projections a little bit later, maybe closer to 5 p.m. You know what I'm going to do? I got to remember to do this. I won't forget. It'll be, I'll do it at halftime of the first game. So it'll be like 4:30. I'll make sure to get in there. I should have the ownership, the injury report by then, or at least mostly. So either the halftime or just after the third quarter starts, I'll put it up there. And if there's any new takes, I'll put them up. So one thing you do probably want to keep an eye on is the starters for San Antonio, right? So yeah, I'm gonna stay on top of this. I don't know if I'm going anywhere today anyway, so I'll stay on top of this. And also, I'm gonna be posting the hockey sheets a little bit later as well. So if there are no questions, well, you know what? I'll wait 5 minutes. If you have any questions about literally about anything, you want basketball, you want NBA, NFL, any site, any 1x1, 2x2 overall thoughts. I'm just here anyway, so I'll hang out here. You know what? I wonder how my early slate lineups are doing. There's like one island game, so it's kind of hard to see how I'm doing because I'll have like guys left. So like a guy, I only played like the lottery today. So like a lineup like this, I don't even know if this is any good. I mean, I guess it's good, but who knows? I mean, right now it's not winning anything, but everybody's a flamethrower. You know, look at this score. Lakers Hawks is 95-90 with still 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. You got Malik Monk at 39 fantasy points through still. You got Collins smashing. You got Plumlee. Westbrook is getting his ass in gear. Reggie Jackson had like 34 at the half. Look at actually the end of the third quarter. It's not a big deal. And so I have to think about this. I have actually these two dudes in the later game, Troy Brown and Nurkic. So I want to think about what I need to do about that. You know what? Let's take a look. Let me look. Why do I have this? Let's look at the projections and see if I can't improve on the Nurkic. You know what? I can't even do it because I already got rid of the of the early projections. They're gone. I outsmarted myself. So this, okay. So this, I want somebody to explain this to me. All right, maybe Rody, if you're there. You have this guy here, this Butler guy. He's got the same lineup in like 20, like repeated 20 times, I think. He's got the same lineup 20 times. He's literally throwing money in the trash can by doing this. Hey, whatever. Pretty crazy, no? That had to be by accident, right? And the fact that he's got Bogdan in all of them. Whee! Excellent. In order to make the text larger when screen sharing, turn off the chat window temporarily, and then the chat window. I don't think it's the chat window I need to turn off. The chat window I don't even have open, or then use PIP view for camera selection. You know that I'm Restream, right? Mark. I'm using I'm using yeah, okay, so I can stop screens. You want me to stop screen sharing first? Or stop the chat? I can stop screen sharing. And under camera settings, let me see. So I can stop screen sharing. I can disable camera. Oh, you mean picture in picture for screen? Okay, wait a minute. So I have a lot of different things. So contain. Can you join Discord or audio? I have no idea. I can invite you to restream. How about that? Hold on. I can even do better. I'll invite you to the restream. Hold on. I'll send you the link. Hold on. Do even better. Hold on. I just sent you the link. So MSL, by the way, just to not this is where I intended this to go, but MSL, Mark Scalato, he was basically the person one of the people in charge of making sure Poker X Factor ran well back when I did that. Back when I did the poker site. So he's the wizard here. I'm just waiting for him to kind of join the chat here, and then he can help me with that setting. Okay, there he is. Hold on. Hey, what's going on, Mark?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Okay. Let me just mute your actual stream. Otherwise, I'm going to keep hearing duplicate audio.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So inside the Restream settings, when you're building your view in Restream, you have the option to have the chat overlay, which is allowing you to interact with everybody, which is great. But when you're doing screen sharing, that's consuming about 50% of your real estate. So if you just go into the Restream settings and uncheck the chat overlay box temporarily when you need to share a screen that people need.
So which one is that? So under settings, general.
Are you doing Restream through your browser? Like just
Yeah.
using? Okay. So when are you using Studio to share inside
Yeah.
Restream?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you do Stream with Studio and it starts building your view, on the right hand side there is the chat icon.
Yeah, I got that.
And then chat overlay is probably checked on right now for you.
Yeah.
Try checking it off.
All right. So
That'll
now
give you back 50% of the real estate on your
that's true.
screen.
I just did that actually. Yeah.
Now, secondarily, and I'm not saying you should start every stream this way because obviously you want to interact with everybody. But now, if you switch to picture in picture at the bottom on Restream, below your image of your screen share or your camera, there's one that says,
where is this now? So
below the center box in the Restream browser window, you're probably using either thumbnails or Cinema View, which is making your camera go next to it. Picture in picture will put you in the bottom right corner on top of the screen, but it'll get you maximum screen real estate.
So I just did that. So now it put the picture in picture.
Right, but look what it did to your screen for everybody viewing. Your screen is now filling up the maximum size of the window.
Oh, look at that.
Zach could probably read this a lot easier now if he's still hanging out.
Let me pull that actual page up. So is now it'll and it doesn't really bother my chat overlay because I can still see the chat overlay. Just on a different part of my.
Right, the chat overlay to allow everybody that's watching to see what the chat is without having to be on all the platforms, right? Because if I watch you on Twitch, I'm not seeing the YouTube chat. So it's useful to have it there when you and Bobby are having conversations. But when you guys get into a full screen presentation like these numbers, it's way better for now. I can read all the numbers clearly from this view.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there it is. Zach comes in text is readable now. Excellent.
Awesome. Glad I was able to help with that.
All right. Are you playing today?
I did throw some $3 and $4 contests together in a few of them, but I don't have any expertise yet at all. I need to keep studying what you guys are doing a lot more.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, this is a good time as any to call this. So hey, thanks, Mark, and
yeah, no problem.
I'll be in touch with you about other stuff. And